of market failures. If you want to learn all about market failures, you're in the right spot. So as you know, we live in a free market capitalist system. Welcome to America. There's 5 characteristics in this capitalist system. The first being there's little government involvement. We have a laissez-faire sort of system. Second, owners of businesses, entrepreneurs, have the right to own their property, and they can determine how much to produce, what they want to produce, where they want to distribute, all that stuff. And it's great because that means they can also earn a profit in this capitalist system, and that incentivizes them to make the right market strategies to give customers what they want at the quality that they want. Competition and self-interest motivate and regulate the economy by.
Then the question becomes, does the free market fail to meet our needs? Yes, market failure occurs when the invisible hand doesn't work and private markets can't efficiently bring about the allocation of resources. The result is that the government must step in and regulate.
The 4 kinds of market failures are public goods, externalities, monopolies, and unequal distribution of income, all which we will cover during our video.
Welcome to the Fox Point Public Park. This is a public good because if left to the private sector, it would be underproduced. The reason being because there's little incentive for the free market to earn a profit for a public good, since people would just use it without paying. Those people are called free riders. Now, free riders such as Laynie over there don't pay and don't want to pay for a public good. So if it was on the free market, they would not come here. The government fixes this market failure by providing these wonderful parks for us, and they base a public good off of 2 criteria. One is it's non-exclusionary, meaning everyone can benefit from it. The second is it's non-rival, so one person's enjoyment of this park does not dampen another person's enjoyment of this park. And that is a public good.
Hey guys, Laynie here, and I'm going to explain externalities. Now, externalities is when there's an extra benefit or cost to a person that is not the person involved in the transaction of a good. We're going to start with negative externalities, which are also known as spillover costs. Now, we start with something like cigarettes for a negative externality. We have a typical supply and demand curve for the free market, where they would produce at this level. However, the demand is also the marginal social benefit, and the supply is the cost, but since it's only for the person involved in the transaction, it's the marginal private cost. Now, this doesn't take into account things that affect other people, such as secondhand smoke or cancer, things like that. So therefore, there is another supply curve that the free market doesn't take into account, which is the marginal social cost. Therefore, in order to correct the fact that the marginal social cost is higher than the marginal social benefit, the government will impose a tax of the amount of the distance between these two, and therefore they will be producing at this amount at a lower quantity and at a higher price. Therefore, the problem in spillover costs is that the marginal social cost is greater than the marginal social benefit, and to fix that, the government makes it so that the marginal social cost equals the marginal social benefit through taxes. Until next time,
Like, I can feel the love tonight.
Nope.
You've shown me right there and then.
wow, that was an excellent performance. And me as the observer who wasn't part of that, I sure gained a lot of auditory benefit from that, which is a great segue into positive externalities. Now, we'll start with the fact that in positive externalities, unlike negative externalities, the demand curve is what shifts. So we have the supply curve being the marginal social cost, and the original demand curve is the marginal private benefit. However, because more people benefit from this, its marginal social benefit is increased by moving to the right. Therefore, the government subsidizes consumers this amount, and the price is increased, but that's okay because the consumers are subsidized for having to pay more, but the quantity is also increased since this product is better for all of society. And that is positive externalities. Bonus round! Coase theory. Coase theory states that problems can be solved without government intervention if, first of all, there are clearly defined legal rights, and second of all, there are little explicit costs in this transaction. Therefore, people can solve externality problems without getting the government involved in the private sector.
She take my money, well, I'm in need. Yeah, she's a trifling friend indeed. Oh, she's a gold digger. Well, over time, that dibs on me.
One of the 4 market failures is monopolies. The reasons why monopolies are market failures is because they underproduce. So how do you solve monopoly? So here we have a graph of monopoly. So we know that monopoly is produced at MR equals MC. So we go down, straight down for the quantity, call this Q1, and we go up to demand for price, and across, P1. So this is where this monopoly produces. So monopolies are a market failure because they restrain competition. Monopolies actually already underproduce. You can see that the socially optimal point would actually be right here. I'll label it SO, which would be at this quantity. And the fair return price would actually be here, which is FR, which would be at this quantity. So monopolies are also already underproducing. And if the government imposed a tax on monopolies, it would shift the marginal cost curve to the left, right here. I'll label it MC2. And therefore, the firm would continue to operate where MR equals MC right here, and the quantity would be even less, even though it's already underproducing, and the price going up to demand and across for price would be even more. So obviously, taxing monopoly doesn't fix the issue of monopolies as a market failure. So what the government does is that it places antitrust laws. So for instance, the Sherman antitrust law is used to, basically what it does, the government regulates monopolies by regulating mergers between companies and trying to prevent monopolies. And other antitrust laws like this help regulate monopolies. So what we learned is that monopolies already underproduce. Taxing compounds the issues, so the government has antitrust laws to regulate monopolies as a market failure. The last of the 4 market failures is unequal distribution of income. The Lorenz curve measures distribution of income within a society. As you can see, it is shaped like a banana. That is no accident. The x-axis represents the percent of families, while the y-axis represents the percent of income. In a perfect society where the wealth distribution is perfect, this would be the line. This represents perfect equality within a society. But since society is really never perfect, usually the income is more of a curve like this, and that is the actual wealth distribution within a society. So, how do we solve the distribution of income inequality? Well, we use taxes, for instance. Progressive taxes are when the wealthier you are, the more you get taxed, or the poorer you are, the less you get taxed. The second kind of tax is proportion, meaning that everybody gets taxed the same percent of their income. And the very last one is regressive taxes, which means that it's more, poor people get taxed more than rich people. And this seems like it wouldn't make very much sense, but for instance, if you have sales tax, if the percent of tax is the same for a poor person and a rich person, it ends up being a greater percentage of the overall income than a poor person than it would of a rich person, because a rich person makes more money.
The day when you wake up and find that what you're looking for has been here.
She's recording.
Do you want to build a snowman?
It doesn't have to be a snowman.
Hardcore rocking.
Take one.
She take my money when I'm in need.